All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Park and Recreation Committee meeting of Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. Just like seeing how many people we have in tonight's meeting, and we should move all of our meetings to Tuesday night. We're going to get crowds like this. I know that we do have some guests as part of our meeting guests, which is the second item on our agenda. I know that we have 3 groups here tonight, one of them being a group from George Agate. Am I correct? By a show of hands. Okay. We also have disc golf that is here tonight. And we also have a group of pickleball, correct? Great. The order of importance, I looked at order earlier, and George Agate is going first, as a matter of fact, tonight. We are then going to listen to disc golf as second, and pickleball. You were part of the discussion on tonight, which I know is going to be a lengthier conversation. So just out of respect for the other 2 groups, we're going to have to go first, okay? But we will bump you up in the agenda. It's just how we'll order it, okay? Taking away from the meeting guests, do we have any other open forum or public comment coming in through Zoom or anything else like that?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, so now we will jump into our meeting guests. So if there is a representative or someone who'd like to speak on behalf of George Agate and parking situation, if there is a representative or someone who'd like to come up, please come up to the chair, state your name and your address, and the floor is yours.
1 second. We're gonna have the move closer to the microphones because then we'll pick them up.
Okay, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Eric Baxter, I live at 26 George Agate Road. I'm here this evening to address the parking concern on George Agate, primarily George Agate and Sutton. Okay, intersects George Agate. I'd like to focus on, we sent a letter dated April 16th to the department. My goal this evening is to see where we stand with that. And then really hear what the plan is going forward. What the department either has done, intends to do, so that the neighborhood's expectation is consistent with what you guys feel when you're out there and you're seeing things happening. We're not surprised by things, but that's where I'd like to start. But I will take this conversation wherever anybody wants to take it.
Just so, I mean, I know the commission has seen the letter just for in your Reader's Digest version of the concerns of what you are seeing, just so it's out there, it's reported. The reason why you're here today is because we are seeing.
Understood. So frequently there are a number of vehicles parked on George Agate and Sutton, both sides of the street, typically very close to Denham Ave. Usually, depending on how many vehicles, it'll extend down George Agate. It'll then turn and go up Sutton. And in the simplest terms, the rules we see define blank we see on the website indicates they shouldn't be doing this. Part of the reason why the neighborhood is concerned about it is, and a lot of them detailed in the letter I told you, primarily it's safety concern. Creates a lot of blind spots. There are vehicles, and some of this is through discussion with other entities in town. There's parking within 5 feet of people's driveways, which is an enforceable action. There's parking within 15 feet of corners, which is an enforceable action. There was one instance, and this goes back maybe at least a year prior to May of last year when I started my communication department, was a school bus that attempted to turn off that amount onto George Agate Road, take it right, and could not, because of the vehicles parked on both sides. But had to back up onto that, which I don't recommend to anyone. We've seen vehicles parked as a hydrant at the end of the street. We've seen vehicles parked in front of the hydrant. There's a number of kids in the neighborhood. There was the blind spots created and the increased traffic to everybody when the event is either beginning or ending. The 3-point turns in people's driveways, the damage it's causing to not just people's driveways, my driveway, the right of way between the street and the sidewalk, which is right of way, we all understand that. But it's the residents that care for it. And then that constantly gets destroyed every season. So it's all of these things, and what we ideally like to do, we're not looking for parking bans.
Not looking for parking bans.
No, the neighborhood has enjoyed the right to parking on that street and is not willing to give that right up because the people that use the park aren't following the rules. So what we'd like to and the reason I'm here, let me back up a little further, the reason I'm here this evening, I started my conversation initially with, I think what some of the other residents asked was this park. And we were advised by them that, there's nothing for them to enforce other than a couple of items. So that led me to the, traffic management, advisory committee, which I met with on 2 separate occasions. Initially, just I got on their agenda and then they asked me to come back. Pretty unanimous understanding that there was a problem and that it needed to be addressed. And they said, it seems like it's a parking lot issue. I spoke with the town manager's office. They suggested that we communicate with Parliament Department. The newly formed traffic safety committee, I think it is, held a meeting in our neighborhood a couple weeks ago to discuss the future crosswalk that will be going from the end of Georgia across that, which is a great idea. Safer passage over the fields. The concerns raised by the neighborhood during that discussion, which took place, in the street that day, is that that's going to invite more people to park. Now, there's a safer way for them to get across instead of running across. And when we asked, is there any coordination between entities within the town to make sure that doesn't happen? It was part of the parking right. So everybody is wanting to do this.
Seems to be a pattern.
Yes, which is why I'm here. I know there's some of the other neighbors from that neighborhood here this evening. That's the Reader's Digest version of the chronology of what got us here. And we attempted to join the meeting on the 8th, and there was some miscommunication between the meeting getting canceled in the afternoon that day, which is what led me to A, request that we be added to the agenda this evening, and the letter of positions.
Okay. Any questions from the commission in regards to the recap? Okay, Cindy.
Thank you for coming. We share your frustrations. We don't live there, but we share that frustration. It's not new. It's been for a long time. It has happened before. I thought we had resolved it. And sorry to hear that it was reared its head again in a big way. Did this happen mostly on a Saturday? Is it afternoons? Is it evenings? Is it all of them?
My observations, is it's whenever the baseball diamond that's directly across from Georgia.
So you believe it's the baseball,
I do.
generally the baseball groups?
I
Okay.
do, we,
Okay. That's helpful.
others may have their own observations, but I mean, from where I live, it's not difficult to watch people park, get out of their cars in baseball uniforms, walk across the street.
Okay.
That's typically what happens. There are soccer games, there's track and field on the weekends, Sunday mornings. My wife and I walk my son over there for the track and field event. And there's no cars parked on the street. This seems predominantly to coincide to baseball at Florida. And I know you didn't ask this, but you mentioned it's happened before. So I moved there in 2016, and I do not recall this being an issue.
So I've been on this commission, I'm sad to say, for 20 years. I do believe in term limits, but not right now. So this has been an issue before, with people parking there, and we enforced it. We actually asked the police, and we got the same answer, we can make it no parking or not, and obviously folks don't want it to be no parking. But our enforcement, and you asked me, correct me if I'm wrong, our enforcement is through our field permits.
Yes,
And we can enforce something through that. It doesn't have a lot of teeth, but we can take a permit, we can pull a permit. Obviously, we need to do that. And I think what we did last time is we worked very hard with the sports groups to say, You have to get it out there, not just to the Needham folks, but to the out of town folks, they can't do this. I'm not so crazy about a crosswalk there, maybe it helps your neighborhood, but I think it's gonna encourage people, and it's such a dangerous road.
I agree. I know they're doing, well, I don't know the history of the crosswalk. I know that there was a notice put out about a neighborhood meeting to discuss the crosswalk. I don't know the order.
Okay, I
But we
think
will
it's
like,
going to be a lighted,
yes.
so it will be something that people have to stop, or at least that's something. But
Uh,
I do think it will encourage people to park and cross the street. We, as a commission, I think we are 100%, that's not a good idea. We have a big parking lot over there. We work to smooth it and put in barriers so they can park, hopefully, I mean, that's a different issue. But we don't want people to park there when they're baseball, and we've had coaches, you know, that would pull in and park on grass off of that baseball diamond. I mean, we had to speak to them and say, no, park in the parking lot. But our enforcement mechanism, I think, is only through working with these youth groups, and it helps to know that it seems to be the guidance. And to say, you know, we have issues with your groups, and we will not issue permits if you can't, because, Park and Rec, I think I said, which is, we don't just want to, you know, provide fields and parks, we also want to be good neighbors, right? We all live in town, we want to be good neighbors to you folks, as well as to the people who use the parks, but we don't want to annoy the folks, right? We would like you to enjoy those parks and to support us if we need to do other projects up there. So I'm not just trying to give you lip service, but I'm telling you what I think our enforcement is to speak with those sports groups pretty quickly. And to say, this is what we'll do. I don't know if our director has any, anything else to add to that, or I will turn it back to you, Mr. Chair, but that's my comments.
Let's go to Dina first, and then Stacy Brinkham.
So I don't know if this is something I kind of thought of, but we do have the department has a park ranger that goes around to the various, parks, fields, et cetera, to make sure people who are there have permits, et cetera. I mean, not that he'd be able to really enforce the no parking, but maybe potentially, you know, do something. I don't know if he can be able to, maybe having somebody there would deter.
I would look at it as, so, this example works. We ask for permitted groups that if they go into a park or a field or whatever it might be, is that they carry out what they want. Meaning water bottles, cups, whatever it might be. We have seen fields that are just trash at the games because people don't pick up cups, they leave water bottles, whatever it might be. Is that we actually have the park ranger go around and take pictures, and then we would send that to the groups to say, hey, look, the field's a mess. If you keep doing this, we're gonna pull your permits. I think we could have the park ranger do something with that of nature in regards to permits of if you're a permanent group that uses water field. Put it in the permits to say there's no parking on George Ave. If they use that, and it's, you know, I hate to say it's a three-strike system, but if that then comes up, then that permit will be pulled. And that user group will not be able to use that field because they did not adhere to the guidelines and policy we set up.
And I think that's primarily what we're looking for, is that something within the scope of your current authority to do. And if it involves, that group is gonna go use a different field. And my goal in all this is not like the kids want to play baseball, the kids should play baseball. And it's not limited to just George Avenue, Sutton. I mean, I'd like to determine more about the neighborhood, not if you're, and this is some of the language that's already on your website, a couple of places that no parking in the neighborhood streets. And if they have to go somewhere else, then they go somewhere else. And the parking lot is currently there. It was one of the first things I raised as a suggestion, like, make it easier to get in and out. And I don't remember who it was, these not my words, but somebody at TMAC was like, it's a nightmare getting in and out of that park.
Sounds about right.
I don't drive because I live close, and just as an aside, that's why we live there. The park is a huge draw for when we decided to move there, because of that asset in town, as nice as it was. But if there's a way to improve that and make that more attractive, more conducive to people following the guidelines that they have, whatever can be done, we can support. And to the effort, so what you're talking about, when somebody is doing the wrong thing, and the ranger's a great idea. It's not all complaint from us, like, we are happy to support this effort, and if there's ways, and when you see what's going on, email so-and-so, and just give me the time and tell me what's going on and what to see, and if that helps you guys, then go backtrack and figure out who's going to feel that day. We're happy to do that.
Someone raising their hand, I'm sorry, we didn't cut you off, it's all right, gentlemen in the back.
Just a chat on,
Sure.
Mark Mexico, Georgia, area, veteran
Mhm.
development. If we can expand it from not only the group, but to the town. Because a lot of the people that park there are the high school. Okay, so now we're not talking about this specific group, but we're talking about even high athletics.
Mhm. No, that's perfectly fine. I mean, I know with,
High school players, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay,
players and parents.
okay,
In her careers,
oh, okay,
coaches, dads, moms.
My grandparents, 16, was talking to the principal and athletic director,
okay.
which way I had spoken with the athletic director before they issued it, and I'm on blindside and sort of, I let them know, concern was similar, and this is consistent with the reaction we got from virtually everybody, hey, this is an issue we gotta deal with, you have to take action. So we put him on there, and, you know, our desire is that we, not a meeting, I don't expect anything to happen instantaneously, but over some time, we start to.
and I think being able to work with this new traffic safety commission that we have and TMAC group, I mean, honestly, I wish we had an answer right now to say, hey, this is how we're fixing it, but be able to have these two groups to get suggestions and work with them. That just helps us all out, because I mean, what we might think is doable thing, they might have a better suggestion, they might have, say, what about we do this or adding this on to. So we at least working with the high school, the athletic director, the police, the traffic safety one, obviously getting on each other's agendas and saying, hey, listen, it seems like you did the right thing with goals down, and they're all pointing you in our direction, I think it's great. We now have to get on their agenda as a group to say, hey, listen, we talked to the community, we talked to the people on Sutton Road, George Ag, and the surrounding, and we need help coming up with resolution. Because you're right, the easiest one would be put up in parking, but that's not something that you'd be comfortable with, so we need to go to plan B or C and D, help get what those plan B, C, and D are.
I would, one point of emphasis on the no parking thing, not, it's not comfortable. When my mom comes to visit and she gets a ticket, that is not an acceptable situation. And that's,
Yeah.
it's something that we, you know, having moved from an area where there was more parking restrictions to here, again, that's something that was of value, that was a consideration of what we like about living where we live. And then there's a small window of time where it becomes kind of annoying.
Which, that was one thing that I'm glad you brought up, of it seems to be just during the week. Which you think would be also on weekends where you have a longer, you can have kids there from say 8 in the morning till 8 at night, compared to during the week. Kids during school, field don't really access to these 3:30.
It's afternoons,
So,
it's afternoons, for disclosure, so yesterday when I got home to cars up and down the street, my patience was short, and I took some photos and I fired off an email, and it was not intended to be confrontational, but it was, I hope, conveyed the frustration that we're feeling, that it's in the afternoons, it's when people are commuting home. I don't even turn off, that I could come home dead at to Georgia, and I don't do it because I don't trust what I'm gonna find when I get there. So I go Webster and I go Sutton around the other way, so that I don't find myself in a situation where I'm coming off a busy road, somebody's coming out and there's no place for me to go, there's people behind me.
And we share, I mean, we're definitely on board with something needs to, or have to be done. Just a matter of like just putting all of our heads together to figure it out for sure.
We, at least speaking for myself, would like to be part of that solution, if like whatever we can do to contribute to that, we will do that. But I would like nothing more than to not talk about this ever. But in the event if I'm not able to do that, and for the 20 some odd years that you've been dealing with this, I appreciate that, the effort you put into it. We understood that there was a period of time where it was under control, where there wasn't an issue. And that tells me that it's cheap. We just gotta get back to that.
I would say like with sports groups, and again, this is a complete assumption, is that you have parents that are part of that sports organization that are there for a length of time, and they know the drill. Once those people age out and aren't there anymore, there's new problem coaches, parents that come through, and they just don't know. And again, it's not the excuse, that's not the right answer to give, but that's probably what we're seeing is that people are aging out, they're used to the old way, the right way it should be done. To always kind of do what we want, no read. I mean, we have signs on the fields that say no dogs allowed, and people just walk right now. So it's one of those things, you have to educate us sometimes, you can't think, oh, this dog is being under control. I know this gentleman in the back of that hand raised, thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much. Scott Stevens, 18 Birthday Road, just to point clarity, when it happens, it's not just weekday afternoons, it's Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, Sunday mornings, Sunday afternoons, evenings, if there's baseball in the evening. It is largely, if not 100%, the baseball. You know, the soccer seems to, I don't think I see soccer players, parents, what have you, going over. But I just want to add to the clarity on when it happens, because it just happens all the time in the baseball game season. And my other point I want to add is, first of all, thank you, Paul, for your decades of service. That's awesome.
Did you hear it?
Thanks.
Should be noted. But I think I just want to reiterate what was just said. That it has been proven before that it is achievable. We've been there since 1996. We moved in and it was a problem at the time when we moved in, and it was being addressed by I think this organization with the neighbors. We came in and it was already not being addressed. From that point on, it was generally fine for 20, 25 years, and only in the last 5 years or so, or 3 years, whatever it's been, but in recent years where this has been, it all of a sudden went from no problem to now every night and every weekend being a problem. And so it definitely is achievable, whatever was being done before to enforce it, and was working. And now it's just not.
So we hit it before from the safety aspect, and we hit the sports groups with, you don't want kids crossing that street, because what was happening is parents were letting their kids out and having them dash across that amount, and you came back and sports group and said, this is so dangerous and so much liability, you can't do this. And they really took that to heart. Now, if there is a crosswalk there with a light, I mean, we can still say that because kids shouldn't be crossing that alone, some of the young kids, but anyway, we'll just have to keep that in mind, but hope we are, as you can tell, very sympathetic to this. I didn't like it, I thought it had been solved, I was surprised to hear how bad it was, so that surprised me. Stacy. Okay.
Do you wanna go to me or
Oh, was there a question?
Lieutenant McGrath?
Oh, sorry, yes, please, yes. Welcome, Lieutenant McGrath.
Thank you. Stacy, can you hear me or?
Yeah,
start my
we can hear you,
video?
John.
Okay, says I can't start my own video, so I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I, believe it or not, actually had to pick my son up from baseball. I made sure to park on George Agate, but no, I'm in a different town. I'm kidding. So just a little bit of my background. I actually also sit on the traffic safety committee, so I'm aware of the issue. I just having sat on the traffic safety committee for several years now, and then some of the issues we're seeing around town, I'd just like to speak to what some of the residents are concerned about. One in particular, so Needham High School, obviously parking has been a big concern over there. We're seeing overflow on Holland Street and the amount of students driving to work. And I hear there's some residents that have lived on George Agate for several years, and I've seen it shift. I think one of those issues is we're finding across the town is a societal issue of kids needing to get to sports faster. They're in club teams. They're on. Sorry, go ahead. Can I start that? Sorry, Stacy, hold on. Am I in now?
You're.
There we go. Sorry. There we go. So I think what's ended up happening is I actually asked our SRO, because our school resource officer, because I was, you always hear the whole adage that, well, why aren't kids walking to school these days? And I was one of them. I said, hey, I used to walk. Why doesn't people walk? And his comment was, well, actually, you have to think about it. They're all going to different activities, dance, things like that, where it all used to be a town event. Each kid did one sport and then they moved on to the next sport. And I think what's happening is these kids are rushing to those events, and you're getting, we're lazy. It's the quickest, what's the quickest, easiest means? If I'm late or I'm running quick, I can park right here and I can cross the street. So I think they're going to continue doing that. And I think what's going to happen is continuously year to year, you're going to have to continue to educate a new group, a new sport, a new season. And it's going to be a continuous upward battle. And as soon as that crosswalk goes in, you're just inviting that to be prominent. Because you're now saying, okay, we've made it safe for you to cross here. In my opinion, I understand the residents do not want no parking signs, but as of right now, George Agate is a public way in the town of Needham. There is nothing prohibiting them from doing that. I understand being a good neighbor and pushing that message out. I have 4 children. I get emails from Park and Rec, from every sports team known to man. Today I had to get 3 different kids to 3 different sports at 3 different times. No offense to Stacy's work, a lot of those Park and Rec emails I am deleting. So I understand what people are asking for, but where it's a public way, they have a right to park there. And I understand there's driveway infractions and corner restrictions. And I know DPW is actually going to improve the corner there. So there'll be a lot more here to corner variations. But I think the ask is, I understand the pie in the sky thought. I just think it's going to be cyclical, and it will be a continued issue. And if we could post no parking on one side and make it amenable, because I just think people are going to continue to do it. I don't think it's Park and Rec's genre to have to continue. Like, I've seen Stacy's messaging. She's not lacking in messaging. I can send officers down every 2 seconds to ticket, but it's a nuisance issue. I'd be sending them to Holland Street every day. I'd send them to Perry Park. I'm trying to be realistic about the enforcement end versus the messaging. It's been done, and people are going to go to the quickest. It's the straight line. It's easier to park there and cross the street, and they're going to keep doing it. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Maria.
Well, before I do that, there is a sign-in sheet in the back, so on your way out or at some point, if you could just jot down your name and address, that'd be great, just for our records. Thank you. No, I just want to reiterate that we also support your stance. We do ask all of our permit holders, including the high school, because they are essentially a permit holder, to not park there. We ask that of all of our fields, like, respect our neighbors. We do our best. The enforcement piece is difficult. Like, I personally can't enforce that. We can start to, if the commission decides to try to see if Blue can maybe take pictures, or if we involve the neighborhood in helping us try to figure out who's parking over there. That's certainly a possibility. We just have to talk about that. Wu is one single person, and that will pull him away from all of the other issues that we're having in some of the parks and fields. But yeah, I know I send out a lot of emails. I know probably 22% of them get read. I understand that. But I think anytime the commission or the department starts to talk about removing permits or suspending permits, people start to stand up and do the right thing. So that's certainly an option. Obviously, if the commission wants to go there, we can start to move in that direction, certainly.
I think that's what we're asking for, and I actually share Lieutenant McGrath's cynicism about what people are gonna do. I think they are gonna continue to do it. If it's a resources, like you can deputize me, I'd be more than happy because I'm there all the time. I'll send all the photos that you guys need about who the repeat offenders are. But if the source of the problem is the use of that field, and I'm not even suggesting this, you guys probably want more fields. Because it seems like they're always in use, it seems like there is a high demand for that, but if that field is the problem, if when that field gets used, the impact on the neighborhood is negative, then I think that's where we focus the effort. I'm not going, I'm not moving there, so this is where we want to stay. But I'm happy that if it's something this is a long-term investment of our time and energy, then that's what it is.
Yeah, and I would agree with yourself and McGrath that it will be cyclical. We'll have a new crop of high school kids that have made the JV baseball team, or we have a new group of kids coming into our field hockey program, our track program, whatever it is. If they've never been involved in the program, they don't necessarily understand the rules or haven't read them or whatever it is. So it will be cyclical, but the more we can get out there, the more we can have our permit holders, like the organization, the head of the organization sending out the same information that we're sending out down to the students, the athletes, the coaches, the referees, the umpires, all the way down, so that the same exact information is being sent out. That will go a long way. It'll still be an upward battle regardless, but it will still go.
Can I make the suggestion that, no disrespect to the team after the traffic safety, I don't know if they have a chair, vice chair type of organization that either we get on their next agenda or we invite them to our next meeting. Or we can have a chairs, or we can have a chairs meeting like we do with the select board and sometimes with the finance committee to kind of have a meeting about this, but either agenda wise and getting on each other's agendas or having a chairs meeting with either or both of those organizations would definitely be a start, in the right direction.
Okay.
What I think we should also do is start reaching out to the user groups that actually use Warnerfield and let them know that we have had several complaints and we're only, what is it, April 23rd? We're only 22 days into the opening of the fields being open, and it's too many concerns as of right now.
Yep.
That it's something of, hey, we've got our eye on this. This is something that we are going to address with you. We ask and just over communicate, both with the high school athletic department and with the runners of the organization of the other runners.
Yeah, I think you want to listen.
Is it primarily in the spring?
Good question.
Okay,
No, the winter was a reprieve,
okay,
but it was an issue in fall.
okay,
Whenever there's activity scheduled on that field.
okay.
And you pointing here,
It looks like you wanted to have Bernie.
John, you raise your hand or lower your hand, you're good.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that, no, I think if there's a way you could even leaflet the cars or something out there, I'm trying to emphasize, they're not doing anything illegal. It's more of a nuisance issue. So I think, and I will speak to it. I'm sorry, I do not know the petitioner's name. I had to look, but I do feel, I understand your angst. I did take it's the individuals parking there who are also accountable. And I feel that the town is doing what they can to push the messaging, especially Stacy. And I did take offense to the tone of the email. And because I do believe you have come to TSC, you have come to Park and Rec, you have gone to the town manager's office, you're being given solutions, and I think your frustrations are being taken out on the wrong people. And I think if you want to get it, you need to stand in your yard and tell those people that, hey, it's a nuisance issue, but also be understanding that they are doing nothing wrong. They're parking legally because it's not signed.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. The intention of my email from last night was not to offend anybody. Like I said, it was, if anything, it was trying to express our frustration. The reason for that frustration, and the solution proposed of no parking was something that a year ago, when I met with the TMAC, was something that we didn't want to pursue. But for all the conversations that I've had with different departments and different entities in town, and the unanimous say this is an issue, we should do something about this. The way the street looked yesterday was identical to a year ago. So the frustration comes from seeing no improvement despite being told that, yeah, we should do something about this. So if.
Stand that, but I'm trying.
If my frustration came across as offensive, it wasn't my intent. And if anybody was offended by that, I am sorry, but I can't change how I felt when I pulled in last night and saw that.
But what I'm trying to say to you is without proper signage and the messaging, if it continues, that those, other than being within maybe 6 feet of a driveway, those cars were parked illegally. They weren't parked illegally.
You talking about yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, the photos you sent yesterday afternoon, that was not illegal. There was a lane of travel. If you look at the bylaws, they needed to have 10 feet to passage.
So there was at least one vehicle that stood out to me, was a white Ford pickup truck that was right on the corner of
On the
Georgia
corner?
and Sutton.
Yeah, and again, that's where there's no illegal parking there. That's a corner. It's that curvage is so rounded. That's not a 90-degree corner. As a discretion from an officer's perspective, that would not be a ticketable offense.
I'm
And what I'm trying
only
to-
relaying what I've been told by other members of other committees. We stood out there and talked about the crosswalk. And we were advised that, oh, this is parking here 15 feet of the corner, that's an enforceable offense, and we'll put up a sign. And we said, well, that's great, that's a start.
Let me ask you a question, because I have to look at this from officers' perspective who don't sit on committees like I do, who just respond to a parking complaint. They have to look at the totality of the situation. They may have been working a couple days off, any of that. They get called down to George Agate Road, and they say, because you're frustrated. And they go down there and they look at the situation, and you know what? They've had an experience. They know what they're doing. Do you think if I went and drove over to Wellesley and parked on a random side street and I got a ticket because I was on some obscure corner, that I wouldn't be upset? They're not looking. The officer has to look at the totality of the situation. They go down to George Agate, they see a ball game going on. They see, yeah, people parked here because it's the easiest access. There is absolutely no illegalness about it. They parked 5 feet to a driveway. Have you ever gotten a ticket for parking 5 feet within a driveway? These are the questions.
No, I haven't.
You're putting my officers in a situation where now I'm giving a ticket with being in 5 feet of a driveway. Do you understand how somebody would be absolutely lose their mind because of that? People park. Do you know there's a town bylaw that says you cannot park on the berm? But do you know most
I'm aware of that.
they want to get out of the way of traffic and do it as a courtesy? So you know what? We get calls all the time. Guess what the officers do? They don't ticket it. There is discretion. So what I'm saying is, when you keep sending these emails and keep absolutely eviscerating the town departments, we have offered a solution. You don't want to hear the solution. My officers are going to keep going down there. They're going to keep looking at it as a nuisance issue, and they're not going to ticket it.
Lieutenant McGrath, my goal is for the police department not to have to go down there at all.
I
I don't
understand.
want your resources being spent on our street, ticketing people who should be parked somewhere else. Forget about the legality of whether or not you can park on the street. They should be in the lot. The use of the park on the website says 380 down a map. That's where they should be parked, not in
Okay.
front of my house.
Right now,
All
as a
right,
parent,
Lieutenant McGrath, can you please hold on for a second, please? This is a very contentious, conversation we're having here, and we've talked about this for hours. We know this resolution is not gonna happen tonight. We know that tempers are high. Let us set up a time that we can meet both with TMAC committee and traffic safety and work on a resolution. We all know this is not gonna be resolved tonight. I hear you, I hear your frustration for the cops, believe me, I hear your frustration from George Haggett. But we're not gonna be here until 10 o'clock tonight talking about the same issue. It's not gonna be resolved tonight. We're gonna work on a plan for everybody to do this. It's not gonna be finished tonight.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay. And again, no disrespect to anybody, it's just, we're not taking 3 hours to talk about this. We have 2 other user groups we have to talk about, we have other things on our agenda that we have to do, and we have to keep this meeting going, and we will work on this as we mentioned, as we said, this is not gonna be solved tonight, but we could work with all these departments to have a resolution.
I'm happy to come back in the future to spend more time.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't mean that.
Thank you, Lieutenant
All
Colonel.
right.
All right, that was our first meeting, yes. Next up that we have is the Root Road Disc Golf. We have a representative that'd like to come up? Yeah.
Never got an accommodation to sit next to Ross up in here.
Yeah,
Sure.
Matt, yeah. Bob Baker, president of Needham Disc Golf. We were here back in,
One side, sir.
okay, yeah. Okay. We were here back in October. And I want to thank you for letting us do the pop-up course. It was fantastic. We had a great time. Cindy's a great player. She showed a lot of potential. Sorry, I got called away. It was kind of a mob team. We had over 100 people because Jim was there too. Jim was the other commissioner who's not here this evening. A lot of potential was shown there, and it was a blast. We had people of all demographics there. We had a couple in their 70s who were on their first date. She was a solid player. He was a little rocky, and unfortunately I can't tell you what happened after the whole first date. And we also had a lot of families there as well. So since then, we've been growing the organization. There's a lot of interest in town from town leaders, from people in town. I'm here to ask permission. I got an easy one for you, by the way. After the last one, this would be, hopefully 3 minutes and an easy yes. Yeah, but we're still looking at the same 2 sites, the 2 very general sites. One is the north side of the town forest, and the other is a couple of different sites at Ridgefield. So the opportunity came up this spring to do a feasibility study. It locks the town into nothing. It's getting a professional disc golf course designer to look at it for a day, give us a day of services, to walk those properties and say, could you build a disc golf course here or not? What would it look like? Doesn't commit the town to build one there. Talking to a member of the select board, I'm not gonna mention who, but he's sitting in the back row. And he suggested, he kind of went to bat for us a little bit and said, well, how, what about doing a feasibility study? And we could have just done it. Maybe we could have just walked in the woods and done this with the disc golf profession. But he went and he said, well, you gotta get a check off from conservation. You gotta get a check off from Park and Rec to do it. We did work with somebody who is a professional disc golfer named Avery Jenkins. He's won the world championship. He's been on tour. He was in New Zealand designing disc golf courses. He is gonna be out in Milford doing the back 9 on Louisa Lake. He said he would come here for $1,200. Usually it's $1,000 plus expenses. He lives in Chicago. We're not asking for the money. That's a separate problem we will deal with. We're also not married to Avery Jenkins. We have other options. We're also thinking about, we tried to come to you, try to get on your agenda, your meeting with Stanson. We went to conservation. We heard a lot of things. Oh, all they want to do is save the trees. They immediately said yes. A lot of excitement. They actually had a lot of excitement. A lot of people played disc golf and said, yeah, disc golf is great. We know it doesn't do any harm to the forest, and it goes very well ecologically with the forest. So what conservation asks us to do is the document we produce, and I don't think it's going to be an elaborate document. It's going to look at those sites, and we will specify one as a better one to move forward with. That it would be a public document, and we want it to be public. So we're just here to ask permission. Maybe we do a feasibility study sometime, hopefully soon, but sometime in 2024. So we can at least, so we've been doing this for a while now, looking at 2 sites, so we can at least advocate for one of those 2 sites, and then work with the town and have people say yay or nay after we have one site. So right now, we're betwixt and between, we're with you and we're with conservation.
I think it's fantastic that you went to conservation and they are, shall we say, giddy about something like this. And I appreciate them, going and you folks going through the chain of command, dotting the i's across the t's, as a matter of fact. I don't say concern or just thought would be, especially the feasibility study. When feasibility studies get done, the town has to accept such feasibility study as a valid feasibility. Am I wording that correctly?
Sure.
Sure, okay, great. So my only concern is that I would hate for you folks to waste money if the town's not going to accept it as a viable feasibility study. But I think Stacy is going to say, Chris, don't worry about that, but go ahead.
Chris, not to worry.
There you go, see?
So I had two concerns when Bob approached me. One was liability. And the second was if and when we decide to if we decide to do a disc golf course, can we even use said feasibility study? The answer to both was positive. So there is no liability concerns. And basically, once the feasibility study is done, they would sort of gift it as a donation to us. And so we can decide if we want to use it or not. So like any other donation, if somebody donates
Park bench.
a park bench, then the select board signs off on it, but it would be treated as a donation and therefore usable in the future. So both concerns were put to rest.
Any follow-up questions or comments from the commission?
I think it's great. I think
Fantastic. So do you need a formal vote on?
That would be great. I like formal votes, you know how I feel.
Yeah, I think, who wants to make a motion or I'll make the motion? Oh, go ahead, please.
How do I phrase this? I'll make a motion to approve their provided accessibility study.
Feasibility study.
For disc golf course
With no financial ramifications for the town.
with no financial ramifications for the town.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Passes unanimously, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
We might have another event this summer over at, Olin. We're meeting day at Olin, we're working.
Can I come up and Cindy?
Heard she's pretty good.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks.
So, all right. 2 down, 1 to go, as a matter of fact. No, 2. For discussion items.
It's under the direct support under capital projects, our CHA folks for the active recreation feasibility study. Right here.
Are here, okay.
So we should go to pickleball and then we can go to
And that's
CHA.
what I was gonna say, go pickleball first. All right, pickleball, come on up. Good evening.
Hi, everything.
The floor is yours.
All right, great. Lisa Rhodes, 19 Washburn, Christy Silverman, 44 Blue Street. So I first wanted to thank you for your time. We will try to keep this quick and hopefully you are continuing your generous moods. Not only your time tonight, but I did want to just generally mention that over the course of the last year, last time I was here, communication has improved a lot. We've been meeting with Stacy on a regular basis, with Hannah regularly, more recently with Chris Vernon on the department. Everything just seems to be a bit more smooth, and I wanted to express my gratitude for all the time of that. We are here today to follow up specifically on the proposal that was issued in May of 2023, and that was to paint the football line on Court 1 at Mills. That original request about a year ago was based on data that we collected at that time. Highlights of that data were that there were nearly double the number of pickleball players compared to tennis in the town overall. Particular to Mills Field, there were 20 times the number of pickleball players as compared to tennis. So really monumentally more players for pickleball than tennis. And importantly, there was a wait to play pickleball more than a quarter of the time. And of those people waiting, more often than not, they were looking over at Court 1 and observing that there was nobody there. That added to our frustration. About a year ago, when I was here, there was a large amount of discussion, but there wasn't a vote, there was no resolution. So we wanted to come back today to talk about it again. Last time, you had kind of wanted things to settle, just to see where is pickleball going. There was that incident last spring and everything's a little hot. So we let it go. We let it go for about a year and now we're back again to talk about it when things are a little bit cooler. The badge sales data that I got from the department shows that there are essentially an identical number of badges April 2024 compared to April of 2023. Not the end of the season, because it's very early, it's really golden morning still, people aren't really playing that at their.
In a couple of weeks.
Definitely more, definitely sure. One trend that we did notice was that the percentage of pickleball players has increased based on today's data versus a year ago. I understand it's not enough courts to go around for everyone. We need to share, we need to find some equitable way to share. All we're asking is for our fair share. Proportionally, there does seem to be too few pickleball courts compared to the data that we have collected. Unlike Newman, which is for tennis exclusively, there are no pickleball only courts, and we're fine with that. We want to keep it that way. We are more than happy to continue to share bills. We just really don't want to look at an open court and not be able to play.
Yeah, I think I sent a photo a week ago, and see the people standing on the side where you play pickleball, and Portland is completely empty. And I was there again today, same scenario. It seems to be the trend.
Want me to go first? You want me to go first?
You weren't sure, you should.
Okay. We appreciate not just you, but all the other groups that when we do say we want to kind of soak it in, it's not, we're not saying it just to say it, we definitely want to see everything in motion going. Also didn't help that we had to postpone our last meetings because of that, so it was just bad timing, what it is, so we apologize and I appreciate you understanding at the time of it. And I'm glad we actually did because there were some things that came to fruition, especially some of the other projects we got on town, especially with the high school tennis courts that we're looking at. So meeting with neighbors up there and such that when we are looking at the future of that project, see what we can do, and then hearing of what pickleball is looking to do. I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the commission, is that I am now more in favor of putting the line on court number one, especially after meeting up with the neighbors up at the tennis courts at the high school because of this new project we have going on. We also think that the high school courts up there is a big safety concern with the cracks and everything that we don't want to hurt themselves, high school, youth, any one of the days. So what we were going to do is we are actually going to de-strike all of the courts up at high school because we do have a future project, not on the curious matter of fact. So because I know there were a few courts that were up there that we thought being reduced a little bit. What we'd like to do is since that is being, for lack of a better term, taken away, give the atmosphere for the benefits to make it, make it to kind of satisfy one group, but also satisfy all. Again, that's me just speaking for myself, not the commission. I know we've talked to the other commissioners about it. If I'm wrong or if there's a disagreement, we'll speak up about it. Stacy, you're also more than welcome to speak up if there is an issue or something you would like to add on or caveat. You're more than welcome to speak up now.
I would just say that we've had a lot of conversation with the neighbors for the courts up at the high school, and over the last couple of years when we put up those courts, there have been some concerns because the neighbors are much closer to those courts about the noise level, and I think personally, I don't play pickleball, but from a global perspective, it does feel like a better trade to take them off of the high school and have you guys all in one place. That's just my perspective after hearing from you guys and also from the neighbors up at the high school. So that's just my perspective.
Great.
Any of the other commissioners, any comments?
I would definitely agree with that.
So is this a formal vote or is this just the?
Formal vote.
To strike Mills 1 and
To remove the lines at the high school. No, they can be the same.
One motion?
Yeah.
One motion.
Please, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I would make a motion that we ask, Public Works to, is it Public Works that do the striking, or would it be you? Is it Hannah and Stacy? I would make a motion that we ask the town to, put pickleball lines on Mills Court 1 And then we also asked the town to take the pickleball lines off of the high school tennis courts.
It's nice to be finally practicing.
They're asking about that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they're just one thing. Oh, okay.
That motion, okay?
I motion, here a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Passes unanimously.
Right now, thank you.
Congratulations. Now, one of the just quick thing, I know that there was. What do they call it, the hitting wall, like court number 4, that was gonna be moved, or is it okay now that it's still there, for how much 4 courts is
Well,
like?
they put it on the second. So there was one in both sides.
Pardon me, is that a discussion of adding another one?
There wasn't a discussion, there was a discussion of moving it, but again, that was the town. So I was down there looking at it, but if it's not necessary, you can figure out if it needs to be, there's a few places it needs to be reinforced.
Okay.
It's a wooden wall, so
Yeah.
it needs a little bit of TLC. I think you may have had a hand raised from the others.
Way into this.
Oh, go ahead.
I would support you, but I don't have any idea what we're talking about.
All I asked.
Well, it's Kern, 16 Manning Street.
Thank you.
Came from the Field of Dreams timeframe, so I just put the question to all of you. This is the doubling of our infrastructure capacity at very low cost.
Mhm.
It is very analogous to what we did for the fields back when we put those fields in place. We made them multi-purpose. They're lined for soccer, they're lined for football, they're lined for lacrosse. This is really the ask of the football community, is to make any court possible. And we heard back then that the lights would affect. Yeah. You guys know, but in Laurel Brook, you know, we always had that, and we do have the technology to focus the beams down. I think, you know, the sound, I don't know how to do that yet. Someone's working on it, and that's all. I think it's an opportunity that we should take.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are the first 2, 3, and 4 already coming?
Yes.
So you're just asking the one, and how many courts are we losing out of high school 2? 3 courts. Is there any plans to behind any of the other?
None.
courts? No.
But we are looking at a
Because
feasibility.
they're asking for.
We actually have a feasibility study out there to look for other areas of town that we can actually put a pickleball, for lack of a better term, complex. Or courts, if I don't say complex, we'll say.
Yeah, I haven't worked for you.
Yes.
So it's my understanding that the road department is going to take this to the building department and they're gonna let the courts, is that the idea?
It's whoever in town does it, we're not sure if it's Stacy directly and her staff, or if it would be Public Works, but it will get figured out.
And that's gonna be happening after this.
I would say within the next few days, we'll figure out who's some lucky individuals who can do it. So, okay.
Stacey, this might be a direct question for you offline, but would you be interested in having the users do painting like the other folks have done?
I can touch base with you tomorrow or, yeah, we can reach out to you tomorrow. But
Great.
not a problem, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have another online here. What?
Do, so the,
Aston.
our
CHS.
active recreation feasibility study bid winner, CHA. Mike Moonen is here. I'm gonna pull him over to the panelist. We did a walkthrough a couple weeks ago. And I sent over their recommendations, their first draft recommendations. We thought it was best, and Artie and Justin from the town engineers department are also in the audience, so we can pull them if they have any questions, but hi, Mike, how are you?
Hello, hi Stacy, good evening.
So first draft of their recommendations, pros and cons were sent over to you, I believe today. We thought it'd be good to talk to the commission first before we have a public meeting and a greater reach for the public to come and give us some input. So Mike, if you wanna jump in, it's all you. Let me know if you want me to.
Yeah.
Pull up your
Okay.
stuff.
All right, no, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Can you
Yes.
speak up a little bit or can you adjust the volume?
Working on it.
Thank you.
This is the site in there.
Yes, this is, yes, there should be 4 sites.
Yeah.
Stacy, could you activate my screen sharing?
Hold on 1 second, she's working on the volume.
Okay,
Yeah. Mike, you should be able to share.
okay. There we go.
All right, we can see it.
Okay, you can see it. All right. No,
Yeah.
good evening and thank you for your time tonight. I'm Michael Moonen. I'm a landscape architect and project manager with CHA. And we've been working for a couple months on the feasibility study for the Action Sports Park and pickleball. Mainly looking at locations in town where it would be feasible to construct or optimal even to construct either an Action Sports Park or a pickleball court or both at one site. So the sites we've been looking at that we were assigned to look at are Claxon Field, Hillside School Field, Cricket Field, and Mills Field. The considerations that we looked at for placing both the Action Sports Park and the pickleball courts was basically just the existing conditions at the site, the location in town, accessibility, noise concerns. Both sports are pretty noisy sports, both the Action Sports Park, skateboarding and such, and pickleball. They can produce pretty high decibels, especially when a lot of players are playing. So that leads into proximity to abutters. And then we look at the sites for the potential conversion or, the ease of implementation at each site. How much work is it going to take to put these in? And then the existing surface, subsurface conditions, sight lines into the area, mainly for safety, makes it easier for public safety police to just drive by and look into the site. And then existing available amenities. And then are there available utilities there, or would new utilities have to be brought in? And then the assessment of the existing parking, and or the need for additional parking. And then is there any other needed infrastructure, an access drive or just maybe a support building or so forth. So this should go, there we go. All right, so this is a cricket field. You all are probably pretty familiar with it. It's pretty active for soccer and lacrosse. So we looked at the potential for putting the facilities here. The pros of the site are that it's a good location in town. It meets the criteria for proximity to neighborhoods. There's generally good accessibility. And then there are existing available amenities and utilities. The cons, quite a bit of cons, there's available, the available area that's left over is sloped. So the ADA accessibility would be difficult to that area. There's proximity to abutters. The nearest residence is 55 feet. And then there are a few others that are close, 50 feet, 60 feet, as you can see here on the plan. And then there'd be difficult implementation. You would need tree removal and extensive grading at the site. And then there's also insufficient parking, and then there's limited room for additional parking. And then the site is already crowded with the existing use, especially at the high use times. So the three main downsides of this site are the proximity to the neighbors, the lack of parking. You'd probably have similar parking issues with people parking on the side streets to use these facilities. And then just the available space. If you could even fit in an action sports park or pickleball courts, they'd be, very limited. So Stacy, I don't know, do you want me to run through all of them, or do you want to discuss each site? After,
We can go through the next one, I think.
okay,
Yeah, you can go to the next one, Mike.
okay,
The quick overview is fine, and then if the commission has any questions, we can go back to any particular site.
okay. All right, so Claxon Field, it's on Central Avenue across from this transfer station. This one has good accessibility. The pros are that it has good accessibility from the neighborhood. Via sidewalk, it's a little bit of a distance, but it still has the accessibility. It's a remote location, so there's really no noise concerns. There's sufficient distance to abutters, and then there's significant buffer area. There would be the ease of implementation would be pretty good, because there are two open spaces available, the former quarry area over here, and then this open area to the west of the existing parking. They're definitely good sight lines from the street. There are existing available amenities, at least on this side of the site. There's already a support building and other amenities there. And then there is sufficient area for both the pickleball courts and the action sports park. The topography is sufficient for both purposes. The terrain at the quarry is actually ideal for an action sports park. Our consultant, Ark, was there when we did the site analysis, and he was really excited about the topography there and the potential for an action sports park in that area.
No, sorry.
I
go
said
ahead.
Art, the gentleman from Arc he was like giddy. He was like
Yeah.
Tim McGaney stuff and that stuff.
He was giddy. Yep.
I have a question now. Would you be proposing both of those areas or one or the other? Is this I'm not sure what.
That's part of the
Okay.
discussion. The
Okay.
other side is ideal for pickleball. It's, already a flat site. Some development could take place along with the current project. That could even get, the permitting could even get amended with DEP to add that to that project, to just have a gravel base left there for pickleball courts. So both of these areas are ideal from a implementation standpoint, topography standpoint. And then there is also room for additional parking on both ends, should additional parking be needed for the improvements. And then there is the additional, there is infrastructure already there, but there is enough room for additional infrastructure, like a support building on this side, if it was deemed necessary for the pickleball courts, or a shade shelter could go in there, and then a porta-john structure or something like that. So there only a few cons. One is that we would have to coordinate with DEP for the permitting. And then we'd have to coordinate with conservation for any tree removal or, development in this area adjacent to their property. And then the location is already pretty heavily used, so we'd have to take a really close look at the amount of parking that would be needed there. So this, this site looks pretty favorable. Let's see, the next site is the Hillside Building, where the school, I think the school department is currently using this facility. The area we would be looking at, sorry about that, for, you know, the potential improvements is the former field area, the field and playground area in the back. This site does have good accessibility from the neighborhoods. There would be sufficient, you know, there'd be good ADA accessibility in the site. There is sufficient distance, you know, a buffer to abutters. The abutters are, you know, about 400 feet away from the closest point of our development. So that's, you know, that's the distance you want to be away for pickleball at least, and then probably the same for an action sports park. And the topography is sufficient for the proposed improvements, and there are existing available utilities there. The downsides to this are the vehicular access is not to the site is not ideal. You have to travel through the existing neighborhood to get to the site. The sight lines aren't great from the adjacent street. Any police officers would have to just drive in to the parking lot and around to check out the site. There are no existing amenities outside of the existing building. And the basically for restrooms and so forth, we couldn't be sure we could use that building for restrooms for pickleball or an action sports park. And then there additional infrastructure probably would be needed, restrooms or some kind of support. We don't know if the parking would be sufficient for the dual use of the building and any other proposed program use. And with the town not knowing what they're going to do with that building in the future, it would be hard to plan, you know, the parking for the new facility. And then also the area is prone to flooding and then extreme wet conditions. So managing the drainage for the proposed improvement at the site would be difficult. And then the last one, Mills Field. This is a great little park, and you know, it's already heavily used for Little League. There already is a seasonal support restroom there. So the pros are, again, it's good accessibility from the adjacent neighborhoods. ADA would really be feasible and easy to achieve. It's a good location in town, you know, and then the ease of implementation would not be too difficult. So there are two areas we're looking at is this area between these three houses and the baseball field, and then this little area down here at the corner of Gould Street and Ellis Street. And then I mentioned that there is already a, you know, existing bathroom and utilities are available. The concerns of this site, again, are noise concerns, distance to abutters. This proposed location is very close to these three houses on Beach Street. The existing parking may not be sufficient at the site unless you can coordinate activities and have them offset in timing. And then there is limited area for improvement. If we were to put right in here where the basketball court is, there is a good amount of room for 4 pickleball courts, and then an action sports park could go in this area. However, they both would be pretty small. If you only put one in, you could have a fairly large action sports park. And then you could put in 6 or so pickleball courts, but probably not both at that size. There is another small area down here that's available. But again, that one only seems good for an action sports park, and it also would be very small. So those are the 4 sites that we're looking at. Do you want, Stacy, do you
Mike,
want me to dive into, pardon?
What I was thinking about doing is, I definitely want the commission to weigh in on this, but before we do that. I'd love to hear quickly from Artie and Justin, if they had, say, a certain preference of the 4 sites, if you could even list them of option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. Just, and again, this is just preliminary, just of ease of how to construct it. I mean, I think it's great because we all had ideas of what it looks like, Mike, and to have these things out there is fantastic to see where the possibilities are. But are those possibilities going to be a struggle, to say, put it, like you had said in the hillside? Great location, gonna need a lot of work, especially with flooding. So hearing from, I'd love to hear from 2 town representatives of just a quick I like option 1 for this, option 2, and just to start the process.
This is Ardik. Stacy, can I talk?
Yep,
Good evening, everyone. My suggestion would be to go with a location across from the RTS station, from the transfer station. Now, that would be item 1, I would think. Hearing all the concerns from the neighbors on the pick and ball for the high school, it kind of makes this location be the perfect one, not having to deal with the noise. The only downside would be the concern for cap that we have, because used to be a landfill over there. Depending on how aggressive we want to be, are we going to go with both sites, both locations to be developed, or are we going to do just the quarry? That kind of remains to be determined, but in my mind, and I believe Justin is on the same opinion, that for us, this would be the better location.
okay. Justin, I think you agree? Justin, you're muted just in case.
I think he's a little bit shy.
All right, while we wait for Justin to do that, I'll go around to the commissioners also, just a very brief, either give me your top choice. Go all in order if you want, it's completely up to you, so we'll
If they have
go.
any questions,
Say what?
or if they have any questions.
Or flipping fine. So,
Oh, Justin's back.
Justin,
Hello, I'm sorry. I
Justin.
apologize for that. I missed what you said. I was having some issues on my phone here.
no problem. Just, I mean, Artie pretty much said that Claxton is the preferable site from his view and things that
Yes.
you and him share the same opinion. Just to kind of hear that, that would be great.
Yes, yes. I think of all the sites we looked at, Claxton would be the preferred location for all the reasons that were discussed earlier.
Okay, perfect. All right, now I'm just gonna quickly just poll the commission, and if they have any questions, they can answer that tonight. So we'll start with Michelle.
No, I mean, I can not fully support it. I think we thought that those were the best pockets of like available space. So it's great to hear that that's consistent with the. It does feel like there are opportunities if we were to split the location of each, that we could make other options work. So something to, I guess, to keep in mind, or are we open to that if for whatever reason, Pakistan, if we're not able to do that, is that an option to kind of split where the 2 sites are? Of course, it's good, yeah, I just don't remember where we landed. I think we were proposing it as like a more of a complex, but if you're, going, but then it feels like we can find spots pretty much.
Definitely agree. Definitely agree. All right. Dina.
Here, I should say.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is Justin.
Yes,
20
there
years of experience.
Oh, it's, so, I definitely think cricket field is out, in my opinion, it's too busy already, I don't think this is the best use of cricket field, quite honestly, the green space, or the available space there, I think we could use it better than for either of these projects. Hillside, did the schools agree that we were gonna be able to look at Hillside? We told them, right, we were looking at Hillside.
We told them we were looking at
Yeah.
Hillside, but with the unknown of what's gonna happen when the school admin leaves, if it's gonna be a swing space or something else, or if it's.
Okay, as long as they were aware that we're considering.
They were aware that we were looking at it, but that is if that was ever the choice, it would be a longer down the road.
And I don't think that's a great, it's a hard place to get to in general, so I think, right off the bat, that makes it difficult. It's a hard site to use, I think, with the way it's configured for this. So I think that brings me to Mills, which is very interesting. I wouldn't have guessed it was space at Mills, and I look at Mills and say, maybe we could split the two projects. So Mills would be my number 2 choice, and Claxton, not surprising, would be my number 1 choice. My question at Claxton for you folks, I guess, Mike, is, but if we use the quarry, I don't know, so is the quarry ever part of that landfill, or is the quarry no DEP concerns at all? So we can use that quarry area without worrying about DEP and landfill and having cap it or anything, is that true?
Correct, the quarry is actually completely ledge. I mean, there's like a
Okay.
very thin layer of,
All
we'll call it grass on top.
right.
Grass, but it's completely ledge, so it was never part of the landfill.
All right, then I would say that, the issue at Claxton, I think, is parking. And if we can solve the parking, get additional parking in there, I think that is a great place for us to use. I would love to use that quarry. I know we use it for archery, we use it for the boosters, use it for the Christmas presale, but I think we could probably figure out other places for those. Pickleball by itself over, right along Central Ave is a little intriguing to me. If we could do that, if it's going to trigger more DEP requirements, I don't know that I want to stir that nest, but I think overall Claxton would be my first choice and Mills would be my second. So that's my, so.
No, I mean, I agree, it's, Hillside, we have no control of that, but if something gets done, even with flooding, takes it right off the board right there. Cricket, already overused, to add something else on there, and I think the amount of work that needs to be done on that site would carry a hefty price tag. I agree, Mills is a great number 2, but Claxton just seems to be, in regards to fitting both possible projects there, the best possibility, but I can definitely see that if we can't do both, because the DEP is city brought up, great, we might have to move one to Mills, so it's good to have an option too. So, Stacey and Hannah, would love to hear from you too.
The only thing I wanted to add was when we were looking at the quarry, like I said, the representative from American Rent Company, ARC, was
Yep.
there. And we walked not just in the quarry, but up above, and Michelle, you'll be happy to hear this. There's actually space for a pump track in addition to a skate park,
A what now?
a pump track,
What is that?
a dirt bike.
Oh, okay.
Like a bike trail, mountain biking trail. So there's actually space for both, and Mike's pulling it up right now. So in the main green space is the quarry, but up over here on the right, there's actually space to put in a pump track as well,
Oh, interesting.
which was one of the things we didn't think we were gonna find a space for, but we walked the area with the representative and he was like, absolutely. It wouldn't be a huge one, but there is space for one.
Is that BMX bikes or is it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
okay.
There is even room where we could have little trails go off on the side and around the site. Be
Yeah, so
really
that was.
exciting.
I mean, it comes as no surprise that the quarry is my first choice for the skate park, and then when I found out that the pump track was also potentially an option. It just made it that much more endearing.
Great. And what do you think?
I would say my previous experience with my last job, the room for growth and other opportunities like the pump track gives this a more like feasible fit for us. And even I know that we like talking about more pickleball courts, but there's opportunity to do more here, then that's great. Or even those other locations, we can always keep it as a backdoor option of putting more in a different location to feed a different part of town.
Another question, so at Claxton, in the quarry, can you put both an action park and an active, an action park or whatever, and pickleball courts, or is it? all-
Not in the core.
Okay, so
Do
we
one
did
or the
two,
other.
if we do Claxton and we wanted to do both, it's two separate, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we,
Ideally, if you were looking at it, you'd probably put the skate park and the pump track in the quarry. And if possible, put the pickleball courts where the old playground used to be.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I know this is just very informal, we just got it right now, what is the next steps, what do we need to do to get this more discussion?
Sure, ideally, the next step would be a public meeting,
Sure.
where the commission sort of has their thoughts about where they want it, and then get some feedback from the public about what their user groups, what their thoughts are. My thought would be to tack on one of those public meetings to one of our commission meetings, like we do for our field meeting, we do it at 6 versus 7, so we would just have to look probably after town meeting. To try and piggyback that and put the notice out for a public meeting to get the public input.
Okay, great.
Would it make sense for us to have the discussion of the commission at one of our future meetings before that?
Yes.
So that we can talk about what we think, because this is a little bit different than what we've been telling, I think, the pickleball people, right, that this is all one thing, and now maybe we're gonna separate these two. Maybe it will be one on my project, maybe it won't. So I guess I'd have to think about that, before we.
Can we make this a discussion item that we have on our agenda going forward until said project is completed? If it gets completed?
Well, it's under a capital project, so it's already a discussion item, so yes, there's a holding
Okay.
spot for it.
Okay, so we'll move on forward. Okay, great. Anything else? No, all right. Michael, thank you very much for doing this report. We really do appreciate it. Like I said, it's actually great to kind of, you see it in your mind, but actually to see what the possibilities are for 4 different spots. It's very visually great to see that what can get done. So we appreciate you, Artie and Justin, also stepping in and giving your opinions. It's always valued. So thank you all.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
thank you so much.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mike.
and thank you for your opinions and the discussion. Thank you.
Well, thank
Have a good
you.
night.
You as well.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thanks, Artie.
Good night.
All right, let us go back to the agenda here. So there we are. Made it through 2. Open forum, meeting guests, chairs updates. Just give it the whole night like I usually doing. Now we will hear from the director's report, from both Anna and Stacy. What was yours?
Thank you. So we have some spring events coming up. The numbers were done last week, so they've adjusted a little bit. We've gotten quite a few registrations overall in the last couple of days. There's a lovely picture of Devin and Hannah presenting at the annual Massachusetts Recreation and Park Association Conference.
Very nice.
They did a presentation on water quality at your pool. So it was
Riveting.
riveting.
Can I just say that I appreciate that you folks and Devin do this for us, that you, because when you're away, I can't believe you're away again. But then you come back and tell us what you did, and I'm like, oh, I am so proud that you represent us this way and at
It
these
was a-
conferences and in these groups. So thank you, and please extend that to Devin.
It was a very popular session. Not surprisingly, Devin talked over his time. I know that comes as a surprise to
No,
everybody.
That's
I know, right?
Gotta loosen up there.
So I broke out our registration summer camps by our vendors. Those are the folks that we bring in to offer outside of the 7 weeks that we're offering programs, then our summer camps by us. We are still hiring. The top secret science picture I just showed, we did that preschool STEM program for kids 2 to 5. We had like 20 kids. It was very, very popular and frankly adorable. So, we will probably bring those guys back. Fields and facilities, all the fields at the time I wrote this were open except for McLeod. We did have an opening day for McLeod. It was lovely. The weather could not have been more perfect. We did avoid the eclipse, so that was good. And, there's some pictures, I think, on the town website of that day,
Great.
so it's really good, yep. Pool opening and closing bid has been awarded to Weston and Sampson. They are scheduled to take off the covers, sometime next week.
Wow.
Which means probably they'll be here the week after. For capital projects, we just talked about the active rec feasibility study, Claxton Field. The bid came back under budget. Yep, thank you, yes,
By like what, bucket two?
no,
Really?
no, so, it came in, I believe, at 2.9. We had budgeted 3.6 for it. I think the ask to town meeting is still gonna be 3.6 because it's a landfill and we don't actually know what's under that grass until we pull it up.
But it's also on the records, it's that we only say use 2.9.
We would love to kick back the rest of it, but I think the ask is that, as far as DePazie goes, no new updates. We've been focused more on tennis courts, Claxton, and McLeod. McLeod is good, I think. Other than a couple of electrical issues in the actual panel, everything is buttoned up over there. So there's very few outstanding items at the cloud, but field's holding up, it looks great. I know if you see the aerial view that went out, it looks like it's in the middle of the desert. The grass around the field is going to be seeded, hydro seeded this week or next week.
Okay.
So it'll start to look a little greener. Tennis courts, we had planning board meeting a couple weeks ago. We met with the neighbors last week.
Last Friday.
No,
Two Fridays.
2 Fridays ago. We got a letter of support from the schools. I just sent out the letter of support. Once that's signed off on by everybody, I'll send that over to planning board tonight. And the meeting is tomorrow. We go on about 7:30. And there will be a representative from the town, myself, town council, and I believe the high school tennis coach will be there.
Yes.
As well.
Hear that too.
And then lastly, for the first time since 2020, we are fully staffed. Nikki Witham has joined us as our admin analyst. She has been working in the town for 19 years. She started with Park and Rec.
Park and Rec.
And she was at the town manager's office for a bit. Recently, she was in accounting. And now she is with us. So she started last week.
Like to come back to Park and Rec.
Literally, because the basement has no windows, in accounting, and now she has a lovely view there. So.
So she's fabulous. I'm so happy that she's
Yeah.
on.
Back, we are, I know she's kind of overwhelmed with the amount of stuff she doesn't know, and I kind of put it into perspective when she left and when the rest of the staff may have graduated high school, so a lot has changed since then. But so she's catching up, where there's a new system for deposits that we just learned today. She's working on our software systems, so she's killing it.
Other people in town have said that we picked up a rock star.
Yep.
And they're-
Yes, and she's a nice person, just really
Yep.
nice person.
Yes.
So,
So. She's already like coming up with new procedures to do time cards and payroll, and her brain's firing on all cylinders, so that's great. And that is the end of my report.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. How is pool staffing, or like, when does that happen? Like, how many rehires do you have, or like, when does that all take place?
So we're right, don't want to cut you off, but
I'm not doing it, so.
we're right over half of returning, if not a little bit over. Our booking page for interviews just went live today, and we already have 4 people signed up, so we have interviews all the way from next Wednesday to the 17th of May. We also have been having a lot of people from our middle management of like WSI, longtime returners moving up to supervisors, so that's good to see as well. As we did have some people leave us and go get real people jobs, so we're happy for them as well. So we do have a couple people that were still training, but they're getting experience interviewing as well, which is really helpful to see. As for turning away from employment, but more towards the leaders in training, the volunteers that we have, I know it's not on here, but I have to date 46 people registered. I've interviewed 23 of them, and the rest are on like the following of this week, and then 10 of them following on this Sunday, which is going to be very fun. So,
Sunday?
yeah, within the matter of 2 hours.
Well, okay, wow. I would take it you wanna, for lack of a better term, lock up as many of us are returning and eligible staff as quickly as possible, just because we don't want good talent.
So for the staff, I've already interviewed all the returners and
Okay.
checking with them. For the leaders in training, that's like, there's only a couple that I've seen that are repeats from last year that I have not. But a lot of them are really like ready to volunteer, you know, have done other things in the town capacity. One was a volunteer at the library for a while, so.
Those folks are 13 and 14, so we
Okay.
can't legally, we don't hire until 15, so these are the folks that volunteer at our summer camps or during swim lessons, things like that in the summer.
Is
So-
there, oops, sorry, go ahead.
So if a volunteer, not a volunteer, somebody who worked as a lifeguard last summer hasn't heard back yet, is that
That's most likely because they did not fill out the re-application.
the reapplication? Okay, and that's accessible on the website, right?
Nope, that was sent out at least 3 times between literally the day that the pool closed, if not the day after, till mid-January.
What if that was already done, like, when were those interviews held that you had?
Those were back in January and February.
Right, and have those people heard since those interviews?
We've been collecting paperwork in the midst of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
If there's
it's just
someone
that-
in particular that you know, we should
Yeah.
connect offline. If they have.
Yeah, there's, I don't know, like specific, I do have one person in mind, but I also have other people asking me like how to apply, they're interested.
So the
like, these are the-
application and like new hires is completely different. That's on the town website. under
Yes.
Seasonal employment.
Okay.
And that's just a rolling application.
Okay, I guess, should I send them to you regardless?
So don't send them to me directly, have them fill out the
Okay.
application, that way that we get them on our interview list. I know Chris is like a couple weeks ahead of me, just because he's able to do his interviews right now, but he's gotten through quite a bit of interviews, but we're still in the midst of.
Okay, I just don't wanna overwhelm you guys, so like, if you're fully.
We're heavy in the thick of it, we still need
Okay.
some people, specifically, if anybody knows anybody that's interested in doing pool maintenance. Those folks are hard to come by, they do have to legally be 16 to get that job, so they can't be too young.
Okay,
Still heavily pushing on the camps too, though, from what I. was
Okay.
talking
Yeah,
to Chris.
okay. Perfect.
Okay, cool. Question?
Oops, it's Barbara. I was approached by a Memorial Park trustee, Mr. Durkee, asking if we had heard that, sports groups are looking to have the amount of time the lights are on at Memorial Park be extended. And he, wondered if we were going to address that, and yes, I was at a previous meeting and texted me and said, is it on your agenda? And they said, no, but let me ask tonight what the status, so you know about that, I assume.
Yeah, so I'm aware, I did reach out to the planning board and the zoning board, and it is good to see if it has to go before them, if it is a change. The answer is yes. And so it is, I would assume that the next steps would be to have a chairs meeting with the Memorial Park trustees, since the joint policy already. And then go to the planning board and the zoning boards. So
I would suggest that maybe the commission must talk about whether or not we
Yep.
think it's a good idea.
Mhm.
Clearly it's at Memorial Park, so it is, it is their park, not our park, but it's a joint policy. When we, put lights up before, we had to go to the zoning board of appeals, that's who was the body that governed
Yeah.
us. It was a pretty lengthy process, it was very difficult, maybe
Mhm.
changing it isn't as difficult as putting it in the first place. But I would think we should maybe talk about it as a commission and see if we think it is a good idea. I don't know what the ask is the ask for 15 minutes or 60 minutes?
The
Every night,
ask-
Friday night, I don't know, but it's not simple, and I think we really wanna know what we're looking for before we start down that road.
And I did make sure that I reminded the trustees, because I am the liaison of the trustees, that
Yes.
this process is not simple and it will not go quickly, and the commission has to discuss it, and they'll want to discuss whether it's just Memorial Park or if it's also DeFazio, because we have lights in both places, including Claxton. They want to extend the light till 10 o'clock.
On
6 days.
every
or 7
night,
days?
Friday.
6 days a week,
6 days a week.
Monday through
Monday through Saturday.
Why?
Their argument, one of their reasons is all the other towns go till 11, and they would like to go till 10. I don't know I haven't looked at the other towns' light policies, I don't know the answers. But my first step was to reach out and to find out exactly, like, from planning and zoning, this is not something we get to decide, this is something that we have to go and.
Right, we have to go and request it, and we did, I don't know if the process has changed, I would doubt it, but it was the zoning board of appeals
Mhm.
that was.
Yes,
But
that's what,
they-
I talked to the assistant planner, and that was what she said.
Yeah.
Does the field scheduler have to be awake that way?
No.
Is it?
Does the field schedule have to be awake that late?
That seems like a big ask to me, but I would think as a commission, we should talk about it. Hope the trustees talk about, as I recall, we led that effort, Park and Rec led that effort along with people from the village, but we took the brunt of that, those arrows, is what I would call them. I don't think it would be the same this time, but 10 o'clock is a big ask, I think. But I think we should determine if we even think it's a good idea. Obviously, the trustees can have their own opinion, and I don't know what they think with their. But should that be on another agenda for us to discuss? Is that, I don't know what the next step is, but
Yeah, let's go on the next one.
I
Yeah,
think
we
there has to be some discussion.
Yeah, I'll
And
put it on the
this
next
evening-
one, because it didn't make the agenda, because I didn't get the information back from planning,
Okay.
but, and I just wanted to make sure I was doing everything right, especially with all the other tennis court planning.
Right,
boards,
exactly.
meetings. So,
And I think we would need, if you can find out, Stacy, or have somebody find out what the steps would be, what we would have to go through. We went through neighborhood meetings, we were in neighbors' houses, some of the commissions were in, I don't know if you've heard all the stories, but anyway, it was a long process. I don't know that Memorial will be the same way, but they certainly are neighbors.
mhm.
Right, there's certainly neighbors on two
There's
sides, right,
definitely
residential,
neighbors.
on two sides of that park.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then. No, go right ahead.
No, it just seems like what problem are we trying to solve? It's one of the,
Yeah.
it feels like we typically receive from like user groups wanting more access or wanting use of the field past a certain time for older groups. And I think you've been able to kind of accommodate groups that have requested field space within that time frame. So it feels, just because other groups do it, are we just?
I know Wellesley does it.
What problem
Wellesley is not.
So I would say from our experience, the biggest ask that we get is to allow the lights to stay on till 9:15.
Yeah.
To allow folks and kids to get off the field.
Yes.
Now, the bylaw says it's 9.
Right. We've been.
We've been sticking with the bylaw. It was a short conversation at the trustees, but it was they were very passionate about this request and asking me to go to find out what the process was. So that was what I did. Just find out what the actual
Okay.
process was, and that I did say that it would have to be a discussion amongst the commission as well. It wouldn't be something, because it's a joint policy, it wouldn't be something that they would be able to do on their own.
I mean, I
You would
don't
have
know
to split
yeah,
it.
I don't know that they couldn't go on there, it's their property, if they wanted to go, I don't, but I would think we'd want to be sure that we were either in or out. Or
Yes.
it was an up or down for us.
Yes.
Right, if we want to do
Yes.
that. And we would need to know, is it zoning board of appeals, that's who we went to last time.
It is the zoning.
So it's not, Lenny kicked us, I believe, not kicked us, but pushed us. to
Which is the
zoning board.
zoning, yeah, it's the zoning.
All right, so on to the next, agenda item for the next meeting as an agenda, for discussion item.
Steve?
All right, going through any further comments on the report or anything in there? No, okay. Discussion items, commission policies, nothing new to guess, Stacy, you got your hand raised.
Port badge policies.
Yes,
So we have a pickleball policy that was done in August of 2020. two that we now need to update. If we're gonna pull the lines off the high school, add the lines over at Mills, so that's one of the things. I also wanna figure out what the signage at the courts are. So in your packet, there is a PDF of our current policies. If you have any thoughts or comments on them, I will write them up in a more, this is pulled right out of the brochure, so I'll write up in a policy so that we can, you know, track changes and take a look at it, but with all the changes, this needs to be updated. And so it's not something we need to do tonight, but it's something I just want to put in front of you so that you are aware it's one of the things that needs to get done.
Okay, no, that's fine, that's homework.
Or this for. And if we wanna talk about this next meeting, or off, you know, whatever, it's fine, but. There was a remark made at the very end of the pickleball, presentation about we're taking away 3 of their courts from the high school. I think we need to make it very clear. Transparency is huge, that once the new courts are up. They're strictly going to be for tennis. I don't want to be any misunderstanding. I mean, we definitely never talked about putting up another wall, so like, I just think being proactive with this is never a bad thing.
Agreed.
Thanks. Nice presents for what I've done.
Okay, anything else?
Where is, what page is it?
It's right after the.
Yeah, 16 meeting.
Yeah, it's right after Mike's maps.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that was homework to take a look at and then we can edit to the next time for the pickleball policy. Because we will need to be updated. It's a good call. CPC, we don't have a member here tonight, but the only other, I mean, I think we do this is that CPC approved the tennis court funding. But again, it still has to. Playgrounds and planning for tomorrow night, 7:30. Playgrounds and facilities, you kind of went through that in your direction report, anything?
Nothing
added?
new. We are making some significant maintenance improvements in all of our playgrounds. The schools are continuing to help fund the maintenance upgrades at the school playgrounds. We're working with Melanie Ziskus over at the school department, so there's more and more coming. We have a EWF drop over at Mitchell. EWF is engineered wood fibers, that's the playground surfacing. So there's a lot of different things happening. Swings have been updated,
Just research house, just raked.
we did, so both Broadmeadow and Elliott had, wood fibers. Sort of blown in last year, so there's plenty, but they have the divots, so we had our couple of staff that we had on Friday out there raking. There's some hilarious pictures of them on the swings, showing us
Yeah.
everything with the mats, they're great, so. There's just been a lot of, like, just little things happening over at the playgrounds to just get ahead of that very large maintenance list that we have.
One question I was talking about playgrounds facilities, hopefully this falls into it, I guess the Foursquare courts at Newman are asked to be repainted or relined.
We have reached out to a contractor to get a quote.
Okay, good. Good. Anything else for playgrounds facilities? Okay, pickleball, we already went over the discussion, we're good. Now on to special event approval. That,
There are like 10, right?
so I'm going off the electronic ones, are there new ones in our physical packet or is,
There's a couple.
okay, so let's do.
Yeah.
Let's do the electronic ones first, if you don't mind, and then we'll do the physical ones that are in the packet, if that's okay.
Wait, are all the ones in the packet or the, oh, alright.
Okay, so the first
No,
one I
all
have
the
up,
ones are in the packet, correct?
In this.
Even the new ones, the new
Oh.
ones are all in the packet.
Everything's in the packet.
all right, you wanna do packet then?
I think that's the easiest thing, Chris.
Just
What do you
packet.
think?
I guess.
I just didn't do that, but okay.
All right,
If you call it what I don't know, I'm just gonna listen.
all right, here we go, Noah's Ark Preschool.
Oh, it's a right off the bat, that's a.
What? And then your preschool celebration, to play on the playground and the ice cream truck visit.
Wait, wait.
That is right after your nice little
I
policy.
don't know where do you do this?
Terry Park.
Oh, Harry.
Fun going through all the pages.
Oh.
Packets.
Chris.
I was going by your suggestion, Michelle.
Sorry, I wrote it.
Harry Park.
This is department. in running meetings.
No, go ahead, no, sorry.
Does the department have any issues with this, with the timing, with the?
Have they done this before?
They have not done this before. This is a private preschool. They're asking for 30 to 50 people at Perry Park, which has no parking.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, definitely not.
Can we put them somewhere else? Do we not want to?
That neighborhood will lose their minds. but
They already are.
They already
Yeah,
are.
and take it for
upset, right?
tactics too.
Oh, right.
Take with us.
Charles for ballet. Video playground, like there's other organizations that we allow, maybe suggest that instead.
We have had systematically refused playground or the tot lot because of the parking at the Fazio.
Understood.
Okay.
That is why typically that is the best place, but because of the parking issues at the Fazio, we have not allowed any big parties or congregations because then it brings in 30 to 50 cars that we
And what
can't.
days a week is this?
522, which is
At the
a,
Wednesday. Right?
I think it's a hard one, for Perry, like, I mean,
is there a supervisor spot that you could find for them, or is it?
Greens.
It is
And
Wednesday.
they are a nonprofit, they're not a for-profit.
Greens on Wednesday?
they're
at-
for profit.
They're for-profit?
I don't know.
They were, but
They are, they live from one. Like, not parking money.
Oh, Wednesday, 5,
They're asking for a Wednesday afternoon.
1, 3.
Is that what time it is? I didn't think that.
Look at your packet, Stacy. I have,
It's 6, 7:30.
6 to 7:30.
No, they're not.
Oh, I guess you don't have.
You're good.
All right, 6 to 7:30, there's no way that we could add, very complicated, we could add, Fazio Greens would also be a struggle too, I would say.
Cricket's the same way.
Great.
Mills could potentially be the only, one.
nothing there on that.
But if there's a baseball game, then
Or
Right.
say there's high school tennis match that day too, I mean.
I think the answer is a very difficult time, They're doing it during prime afternoon sports. Right?
we can reach back out to them and see if there's an alternate time or day that we could potentially find a different playground. I think Perry's, personally, I think Perry's off.
Yeah, Paris,
Right, I
yeah,
don't think you want to permit
is
that,
this Edom based, preschool?
they have a 449 number, yeah, they're free play now, right?
Yeah,
I guess I'm with them. So I would ask that due to the complexity of the schedules that we have, especially in the spring season, field space is at a shortage. Is there an alternate date, alternate locations that we could look at? I know it's
Well,
in
they
May,
would have to tell,
Yeah.
the department have to go with all the.
right, exactly.
And if
Or
you
an
can't,
alternate time.
Oh, so keep in mind that it's 3 days before Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, this, okay.
Yeah.
that's.
So you can do it, you just can't do it that date, that time, or that place. Otherwise, they're all in
Yeah,
favor.
so, okay, all right, so for this one, we were going to ask that the proponents come back, or we go back to them with
Does
the.
anybody have any concerns with Hillside?
No,
Do you permit that out for anything else? Who's that?
Soccer technically has the permit, but
a 1 day event.
I don't know that they'd be upset with 1 day of the
So parking would interfere with who's up there? Is this the school department?
school's done it.
School's done by that.
4, 5.
Yeah, it's administrative,
Yeah.
right? It's administration that by then? Okay.
I mean, when Hillside was there, they used to do the carnival there, and it was
Yeah.
plenty of space.
It's not bad, yeah.
Yeah.
So this I would be on, so,
Once it doesn't
Okay.
interfere
All right.
with the school.
yep. All right, next one I have is Needham Girl Scout Troop 82-926. This is the one at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, thank you very much.
Set up at 1.
7th grade Girl Scout Troop would like to do a field day for the other troops in town.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah. 6/9. 6, no.
It's a Sunday.
6/9 is a Sunday.
They want more
They want a Sunday afternoon. Do they want all these places
No,
or
they want
just
one of
one of
those
these?
places.
Oh.
So they want one. Is there one that they can have, they're estimating 20 people, 10 vehicles?
It would. Pollard or cricket, depending on the schedules and whether or not. It's on a Sunday, I would have to talk to, well, regardless, we always have to talk to the permit holders.
Sure.
We could talk to the permit holders about a couple of these fields. Again, Perry, no, Fazio, no,
Who uses greens on Sundays? Multi-purpose.
nobody.
But why does?
They use it from like 2 to 3, yeah, it's not.
Okay, so this is 1 to 3, this is 1 to 3. It's the part.
I mean.
So other than picking a location, are you folks okay?
Yeah.
I don't care if you can come up with a location that works within our schedule. It seems like a pretty small event, 10 cars, if they're.
You need a motion or anything around.
Go ahead. You start with it.
I send a motion to approve the Eden Girl Scout troop pending location, on 6/9. From 1 to 3, they're gonna bring in their trash, and take it out, and that's it, right?
Got a motion, we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Girl Scout Troop 82-926, say aye. Aye, passes unanimously. Next up, I have Jog Your Memory 5K. 5K run, walk around for Alzheimer's research, caregiver support. 9/22.
People are very efficient.
It's Sunday.
Just a couple of states.
Oh, I got my calendar right here.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
wait, but it's.
It is a
not
Sunday.
visual, right?
It's Sunday.
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
It's okay.
They do it all
They
year.
do it every.
Yeah,
I think the motion.
yeah.
Okay.
1
We
second.
have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of Jog Your Memory 5K, say aye. Aye, that's unanimous. Next up, Cedar High School Girls Soccer Program. Program is interested in hosting a team. Hosting a table, what?
You want an information table?
Program is interested in hosting a table at Fazio Saturdays, September 21st.
Oh, why?
Highlighting the girls soccer program.
Sorry.
Isn't the girls soccer program already in business
Yeah.
at 9/1/9/1?
Yeah,
Right, it's also overly subscribed.
Yeah, I don't think.
It's the high school girls soccer program.
I know.
I'm not saying it's not, right, but it's not, it's not
Is
me.
it hard to get on the team? It's very competitive, it always
I don't know.
has been.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why they would need to do that.
They're not selling anything.
No,
I'm not sure this is a door we want to open.
I don't
Say
know.
what?
I'm not sure this is a door we want to open.
No, I agree.
well,
And not
also,
just soccer, it would be anything. I don't, I agree.
They have events to do that. They
It's like
have,
shooting or
I mean,
something.
they have events at the high school that.
Like
Learn about the club.
Yeah, we do it every year in the spring, it's the open house for all the sports, come to see what we're all about, blah, blah. I think it's recruiting in disguise, and I think it's a bad, I don't think, I agree with not opening that door.
They need to recruit.
I don't get it yet.
I don't know, no,
So,
Could we, how about, before we do this, could we ask for more information of why
what is?
an event
this?
like this is being asked for?
Yeah, we don't
Get
understand.
a little bit more clarification, and if they respond to it by the next meeting, we will make a decision at that time. Yes, I thought we need to do that, so, all right, so we're gonna put this one back for more information
Yes,
from the
thank
issue, please, thank you. Next up, I have the American Cancer Society.
Really?
Relay for like
Oh.
Saturday to Sunday,
Love it,
18th and the 19th. At Newman.
I love it.
We've done it 100 times.
yeah,
We have
Let's
not-
make it 100.
perfect, I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion?
Do they sleep? They stay overnight, right? Or they walk overnight?
Yeah.
And,
We'll see the
and,
parking lot shows it.
no, oh my God, that's the best thing ever.
I know, someone look at it. Literally has people there, oh man.
Before, we'll group with, Parks and Forestry to talk about where we want the tents, where we
Sure.
want this, where we want the DJ, all the things. They also have access to the schools, so we'll coordinate with them. But we do walk through ahead of time, so.
Okay. All right, I think we have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the American Cancer Society Relay for Life, say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Next up, I have the Needham Rotary Club.
Annual summer thing. I thought, is that separate from July 4th? Is that something different?
Hey, what is the exchange called? The Needham Exchange
Oh,
Club?
oh, sorry.
I think you're asking about the carnival and that is separate.
No, who puts on July 4th? That's what you need. So that's.
Oh, I know.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, that's what I thought. Rotary Club is different.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Way different.
Don't sit me in trouble.
I know.
Cindy's eyeing it on her face.
You know.
So they wanna, it's a Tuesday afternoon at Mills. They would be in the green space, not on the field proper.
It's on
Are
sport,
they
yeah.
baseball game? Like, that's where parents.
It's in the, I'm sorry, the date is in what?
June 25th.
So that's fine. Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bills.
Yes, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Needham Rotary Club annual summer picnic, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
So,
Next up, Needham Soccer Club.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Needham Soccer Club, the high school age summer girls league only needs use of one of the 3 turf fields for a game. June 25th.
5 separate dates.
So they're asking for all of them, but just one game that day.
Cut off for. Soccer club.
Like after their little, I didn't realize that there was.
So they go through high school.
They go through high school, but then it's very limited.
Okay.
Because so many of the kids play high school sports, but they do have some.
They do use us.
I think.
Oh, wait, this is like from July 8th through August 23rd, every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 AM to 10 AM.
So is it a clinic?
Wait, what are you on?
Wait,
It's
what?
not a clinic?
No, you're looking at the wrong thing, Dina. This is 5:30, setup time, end time 8 o'clock.
Oh, well, this is another.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's multiple.
Right, this is that. But there's that many days, right? 5 days.
There's 5 dates.
Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday.
Wait.
3, 4, 5.
We will-
So it's not a clinic?
Does it interfere with any clinics going on?
Let's see. Hold on a second.
Because I do that.
Is that the second?
No, that's the one that you guys have. And I know that it was tryouts too.
In June, in July.
August.
Okay, so it goes like 6. We have a question over there, or we have?
Yeah, we just,
Go ahead.
I noticed that the primary contact is different than what Needham Soccer is typically put, which is either Miskin or Belmont, and it's. Ava,
Same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, and this
that-
secondary
I can
contact
get-
is.
8, 9 of 10.
And Carl Tarabelli is the secondary.
I,
I'm looking at page 1 and 2.
what about, are there any conflicts? Because I know there's clinics or camps, or, you know, health camps, and clinics going on.
Not at those times.
Not during those times?
Not off the top of my head. We'd have to look at the field.
Okay.
For me.
But like,
I,
I don't know.
why do they have to use the turf fields?
because the grass gets closed. Okay.
In July.
We do try to rest on our ground.
Okay, you're right, okay.
We prefer to put them on the turf.
20 years in the making, okay.
So are you
No, high school girls, we punt back because we want more information about it, okay?
Because it is true that like Chippenham and Spur Valley, those are the captains.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Kyle have anybody on the team? No. Kyle Tarabelli is an accountant's parent.
Okay, Chippenham.
Chippenham, definitely, yes.
They're older than my kids,
Oh, really?
or my kids' age.
He has
so.
Brandon.
He was a former girls coach for many years. That's how you know his name. I don't know who that
And
one.
that's the one of the cap. I mean, usually the captains, and I really. Like, my mom.
Chippenell is for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Chip.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, we're punting.
yeah, we're punting it, so, all right.
Something.
We're punting the girls, not the soccer, not the Michigan one, the high school girls, we punted.
Okay.
The one before this.
No.
Okay, so currently, again, we're right, just so we're on the same page, we're looking at the high school age summer girls league by Newton Soccer Club.
Yes.
So that's the one, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, that's,
The students sponsoring it and the parents are the meeting contact, or someone else is going to be them.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, I didn't, okay.
yeah, that's
That's
interesting.
odd to me.
Yes,
To me, it looks like it could be a clinic and we should be getting a fee.
Yep,
But
exactly.
it looks like to me.
100%.
We
Oh,
know,
that's,
No,
we need,
that's absolutely enough.
that's what it is. Well, then let's ask them if it's a clinic.
yeah,
Point blank, and say there's a fee,
right,
and we're asking,
It's a high school summer league, they're charging for it. They're starting, now that we're talking about it, I saw something online, they're starting a summer league where
We'll get
the,
some more information.
yes,
yeah,
oh, so that would make sense, and that maybe Carl's involved, because he retired as the coach, right?
so they're absolutely charging for that.
Maybe he's,
We would charge for that regardless.
Okay,
right,
Yeah, that's
so we're
not,
charging, we're charging,
I mean, they're using the facility charge. in the
Yeah.
spring.
yeah.
all right, that's a little more information. Okay, sorry, yeah, all right. So, punted that one, now on to the next Needham Soccer one. This is the Needham Soccer Club morning conditioning. Only half to a quarter of the use of the turf field. Or turf field, excuse me.
This is every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 10, from July 8th through August 23rd.
Yep,
This is that.
who is Dan Brown?
He's like one of the guys on the board.
Okay,
Yep.
they've never done this before, correct? This is a new.
Done conditioning before.
Okay.
I don't know if they've done it as long.
They've done it with Matt, they haven't done it with the
Oh.
soccer club. This is an awful lot of field use for one organization,
But only half or a fourth of the use of the turf field.
but there are other things going on, that on the other turfs, like, I just think it's, I don't know.
We have a program. We have a
Yeah.
strength and conditioning program on, again, half of the turf field.
Sure. Can we look and see what we have covered for there before we get back to them?
Yep.
Like for any of those weeks.
We'll look at that. We're gonna pump that one too.
St. Joe's.
to get back to this.
St. Joe's, school field day, let me guess where they're going.
Green.
And you're charging a fee for this, correct?
Yes,
And
They know that.
they know that,
yes,
okay. And is it in accordance with the school fee?
yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the St. Joe's opening school field day.
I will make that motion.
Do I have a second? Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the St. Joseph's school field day, say aye. Aye, passage unanimously. Wellesley Amateur Radio, we have seen this one before.
Last year.
Did we approve it?
Yes, and so did the trustees.
It went okay?
Yep, it was actually very popular, bizarrely very popular.
Everything's the same as last year.
Yes.
I
All right, thank you.
hate it, with me.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I don't know.
Don't got that, those who don't know.
All those in favor of approving the Wellesley Amateur Radio Society, say aye. Aye. Oh, love it.
Who's this?
The West End House Camp.
This is the one we talked about.
I'm sorry?
You want to move the parking lots.
Oh, yes, but
We're a nonprofit.
do we know
police.
this before they can?
They wanna run a come and learn about our summer camp. That happens in Maine as an overnight camp, and they wanna run it in our parking lot.
Oh, so this doesn't sound, doesn't sound like something that we would do.
I apologize that we won't be able to accommodate something like this because
It's a marketing.
it's a marketing event and we don't let, I hate to say, we don't let other camps come in and advertise.
I think it's taxpayers be that happy that we're doing that.
There'll be some space invaders, but, no, thank you, as a matter of fact, I will actually make a motion to deny the request of the West End House and I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Process like that.
It's the last one.
YMCA,
I'm just gonna YMCA.
Family Field Day event in conjunction with,
Yes.
with the 5K. They've done this numerous times, no issues, no conflicts. 9/22,
People are,
busy town. That's
that's a big thing, that's a big.
good day, good day. Birthday. Here it is. All right, well, if they've done it before and everything's good and they check all the boxes, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, that we approve this.
All right, I have a motion, do we have a second?
I'm sorry.
A motion, and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Charlton YMCA Family Field Day event in conjunction with 5K, say aye. Aye. Any-
Sorry. If you could all turn to the very last page, there is another request. It is a new request. Oh, that's the one. It's an email from the Needham Art Association. They want to use some of our fences to hang some of their signs. We only have a policy about Claxton.
What
So
fences are taller, like where taller are they saying?
some of these fences actually aren't. They are also looking at other fences in town that aren't actually under our jurisdiction, like the fence outside of Roche Brothers. They asked Roche Brothers, but that's actually a town fence, so. I need to figure out from the town how to think about this, but I wanted to make sure that it would ask if it was okay with the commission before I move forward with these fences.
So is this almost like a beautification project of the fences?
No,
No,
So they're gonna hang?
wait, yes, I mean.
Right, I was gonna say they're gonna hang.
yeah,
them from
like, yes,
September.
it is.
Like, so, yeah, so, yeah.
They're gonna hang art.
They're
on
gonna
our
hang
fence.
art from September to May.
I don't know if that's right, Jim.
Well, it's kind of like what we do, I need to say with like with the electrical boxes that we have in town, we wrap them with,
Called art
scenes.
outside.
yeah.
I support
We've been really
The
careful
arts.
though, we've been very careful with what we do on our fences, we don't let advertising, we've been approached in the past. Again, going back in my tenure, we don't have to go out that back. For commercial purposes, you know, could we have people advertise like they do at some of the big ball fields, right, ballparks?
Mhm.
You get money from them, kind of always said no, except for special events like Memorial Day tournament, I think so we've been pretty careful about what we do with our fences. I'm just gonna say that.
It's just artwork and it's not advertised, is it gonna be advertising?
I think we would probably need to get specifics.
It
about
sounds like
if
it's ours, but.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, it's
So
like it's
go
not for
ahead.
sale.
Devil's
It's-
advocate, what's the art?
Right,
Is it objectionable? Is it, you know, is it all scenery? Is it going to be pictures of people?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's far fetched, but do we really want
Yeah.
political? Right.
Yeah, we need more
It
info.
does seem
Yeah.
far fetched on the
Yeah.
end, and be
Yeah.
very careful
Yeah.
to not let people hang things out.
Yeah.
if we can get some more work or information on this, we've got some time.
I mean, I don't want to censor their art, but the other thing that I don't really need to have a controversy about. You know.
What they might.
They-
what might not.
Okay, so I'll reach back out to Hillary and get more information. While we're on the topic of fences.
Yes.
Needham. Span has reached out, so they're part of public health, it's the anti-drug people.
Okay.
I don't know what SPAN stands for.
I'm just
You
trying
didn't
to.
know what it was.
I was like, I mean, I do, but it's gone. So they are also wanting to hang some signs that, you know how we did COVID signs that was like, wear your mask, do this, it's like, this percentage of the kids in schools don't use drugs or alcohol. These, you know, most parents wanna know if there's a house party going on, so there's different, posters that they're looking at. I don't have the posters yet, but they have asked us if there's any particular fences in town. I did talk to them about Claxton, because that is something, and it's a short window, it's not
Yep.
a whole year.
Yeah.
But they also wanna know if there are other fences. Again, I did talk about the high school, and Memorial, but we have to talk, I wanna talk to you about, again, fences.
Say no signs, no fences.
I mean, I think
That's right, I think that's where I'm coming out, because I don't know if you draw the line. And if the town manager's office wants to say, maybe as a town, we should do these kinds of signs, then that's where it should come from. She wanted some road signs a few years back that she wanted to be like friendly roadside reminders or traffic reminders, and that was great, but
I mean, if it's home numbers for, like, I'm all about, like, if it's like, do you need help, like, or like, this, like, you know, suicide prevention, suicide hotline, like. I think that could be really beneficial for the youth, like, something like that, but like, maybe. I don't know, I mean, I'm also giving the statistics too, because it's such a prevalent problem.
I just don't know that it's us. That's what I'm saying. I don't
Oh,
know.
it's
that
not,
it's
it's
us.
everybody.
No, I just don't know. I think it should come from
Yeah,
the select board or the town manager.
yeah, oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
I'm not sure that it's park and rec, right? And I'm not in favor of doing things on our fields, any of our fields, unless we're gonna look at that whole policy
Yeah,
and say, do we want to rent out space? Do we want to rent out space? It's a money maker. Why would we do that? I don't know what I'm at,
Yeah.
but that's possible. That's a
You're gonna open up Pandora's box.
but I'm not,
yeah,
you know, I think it's, I guess it's easier to say no, I think that you can let them do it, but. And I don't know that I would want to give up control of our fences, right,
right,
for what goes up here. Now, again, if
Yeah.
it comes from the select board and the town manager's office, that's a different
Yeah.
thing.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
I just think we want to be a little careful. So I'm not crazy about messing up the scenery with signs.
yeah,
Right, we don't have billboards in town
Yeah.
in general. So again, good messages, I don't know that
right.
on a road fence, I don't really affect this.
All right, yeah, I was thinking more like where kids tend to frequent like that, but not. Like at the, once the skate park and stuff is done. I
Right,
wasn't thinking like fences you drive. As you drive by, you're not gonna ever read it anyway, like.
right, but you want to get the phase, you want to know those fences,
Yeah.
you want to be probably not a tennis court.
I mean, I think this would be for the purpose of the kids, right? Yeah, yeah,
Just to clarify, SPAN does stand for Substance Prevention Alliance of Nita.
yeah,
See?
yeah.
She
I
knew
mean,
that, she
and
knew that.
I have heard that acronym before, so I'm sure there are worthwhile organizations, I have no doubt, but. I just don't really, we want to get down the road of signs, even artwork, which it sounds like it could be some beautiful artwork that would be wonderful, but. I don't know, if somebody puts up something that, then we have someone complains and. We're already dealing with the, people who have valid complaints, pickleball, whatever else, I don't know, that's where I stand, I'm just not commissioner.
What about is putting like something like that, because I 100% support that mission of maybe putting some small signage in. Like the bathrooms at Memorial, or something like that, where kids frequent a lot. Of all ages. I mean, I think it's important to support that mission, because it's such an issue. But maybe like somewhere where a kid would be more likely to read it, right?
Has that been for the forward to us, or these, that scenario?
Instead of
or
a
that
fence.
example?
I think that was just used as an example. I mean, Stacy mentioned she hasn't now proposed yet what it is. This is just more like a preliminary question. So I think what we should do is wait for, said posters maybe come in, and the board of like set a representative one of the meetings to kind of talk about, hey, this is what we're thinking, and because we're kind of guessing right now. It'd be nice to have the board about say, this is the reason why we want to do it, this is what we're targeting, so we can have some educated.
Yeah,
Decisions for that. So we will look into it, but we will do the same also. Ask a little bit more clarification in regards to the art on the fences. So kind of, see what they're actually thinking of for the art. we get more clarification on that.
Got it.
Sound good?
Yeah,
All right,
Minutes,
that's, what?
minutes.
Minutes, yes, right now, it's not bad. 2 sets of minutes we're looking at tonight. The first set of minutes is from February 12th, which we were all in attendance.
Make a motion to accept those minutes?
Fantastic. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
second,
I hear a second. All right. Any further discussion? With Michelle Sokolowski. All those in favor of approving the minutes of February 12th, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. The next set of minutes were from March 11th. We had 2 by Zoom, myself and Jim, and everybody else was here. So you were here. Okay. I will entertain a motion for these minutes.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of March 11, 2024.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
second.
Second, fantastic. Motion for the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of March 11th, say aye. Aye, fantastic. Issues not recently anticipated by the chair within 48 hours, nothing that is on my radar right now. Topics for future meetings, we went through that throughout the meeting tonight. Next up, what we have is Monday, May 13th is hand raising for hand for that though. Yes,
For next meeting, I'll provide a trails update.
that'd be fantastic. Thank you for that. Looking at that though, again, looking at the next meetings that we have Monday, May 13th, which is the second
Second week, second
week
Monday.
of, and we're probably, depending on where the town articles come in, we might be up that night for the task force. So,
Special town meeting, will be that night, right? So we will be down there special.
oh, no, you're right, yeah, that's okay. But if we need to meet prior, we can meet prior, or anything like that, but we'll look at that. Then
I
fall.
think it's
Go ahead.
often getting a room, right? It's often hard to get a room in town hall,
We can't meet prior to, like, in the building.
right?
We've tried that the last couple of years and that's been,
Okay.
It's just not available.
no. We can meet on a different day prior, some.
Meet outside of the nice, town common.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, we're good. Meeting after that is Memorial Day. We are not meeting on that day, so we look for an alternate day to meet for that one. Then Monday, June 10th and Monday, June 24th. I know it's a little bit out of calendars, but depending on layering like a vacation. Stacy,
Do you want me to send a doodle poll to find out some alternate dates to meet? Because I think after the planning board meeting and some of the things that have come up, we probably wanna not wait a month.
nope, I agree. I
So
just,
I'll send out a doodle poll for
Love
some
it.
availability and then we can try to find another time.
love it. Okay, great. Anything else from anybody here? Just question.
Well, just a couple things. We had 2 commissioners who were reelected. Congratulations. And I think I'm just about congratulations. Appreciate that you're re-upping actually, so thank
I don't
you.
know where those other 32 votes came in for.
I
Here.
I
I
know.
think that's good, our votes.
Not counting.
Counting.
Next week, I believe we have the League of Women Voters meeting, right? Is everyone?
I will not be able to attend that.
I'm out of town for that, by the way.
Like the only commissioner going is Mr.
I have not heard.
Rosanna.
You will reach out to them.
That's a lot.
I know, I'll be here.
Sure. Anything that would come up, do you think? Nothing that we need to, yeah, okay. Okay, let's see, and then town meeting, I don't think there's anything in town meeting we need other than CPC articles.
Yeah.
The other thing, I was at a meeting today, I'm on the board of the Charles River Center, if you all know what that is, right? It's an organization that's located here in town, but they provide services to individuals with intellectual disabilities, big organization. What came up from one of the board members today was that the town has a group of concerned citizens that are pushing for an off-leash dog area. And it was quite a discussion about how, because we primarily serve now people with autism, and how it is quite hard for people with autism to deal with dogs. Some of them love dogs, many of them are triggered by dogs. And there was a lot of concern from the people on the board that there would be a spot
That's
Yeah,
really
people
good.
maybe, well, and so I have an article that I might give to Stacy, if you don't mind, Stacy. But they asked, who could we talk to? Who could advance to the town? And said I'd bring it up to our group tonight, because I think that, I don't know that that group's been represented to the select board. That there are people who are triggered by dogs, and maybe having an off-leash dog area could be a problem for those people.
Are they looking at in the same proximity of Charles River or?
So I don't know that, I'm not part of the group,
Okay.
obviously, I think
Okay.
they're looking for any space, I think they're looking at perhaps the town forest. But
Okay.
I don't know what you're hearing, if you're hearing.
I have a walk next week with town management to look at a couple sites. Town forest is not one of them.
Oh, good, okay,
Okay.
but there would be a site, so,
They are looking at potential options.
I think that group, that, I mean, the town manager's office should consider that there are people concerned about those people who betray, it's not just people who are autistic, obviously. there
No,
are
no,
people who
that's
are afraid of
it's a
dogs,
good
right?
point.
And I would hope that they would consider it, and I will give you this, it's just an article.
Yeah.
A woman in New York City, but, I said I would bring it up.
Just for that to get to Stacy and Stacy and all, that would be
I'll
great.
send it to you and I'll send it to the OTM.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
The other thing that I'd like to bring up is that we do to date have 6 summer concert series for Arts and Park Soul Drive, thanks to Chris Burnham, so.
Oh, great. You have
How
fun?
many cover bands?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have sponsors for 6?
Singer?
Mhm. We would love some more sponsors.
Oh, I'm not all.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Do you actually need sponsors?
Yes,
What do you need? Okay,
we can connect offline, but yes, we
Yeah,
have zero.
okay.
sponsors.
Oh, you have 0.
We have 0.
Oh, okay, but you've got.
But there was a big pushback last year. We did not run that many. There was pushback because
Well,
we're
you know,
running.
it rained all last summer,
It sure did.
so.
Sure did. But yes, we are looking.
Okay.
All right, anything further?
I just want to say, I love all the stuff on social media. I know I say it every time, but it's so good because it's so proactive, like it tells the community what's going on, like it's funny, it's witty, it's like, I don't know if you guys noticed that the police department, I know it's Joe actually, has started using memes and stuff and has been witty and it's like, kind of reminds me of that, like it's connecting the community with it, and I just think it's so amazing, so good job with whoever's doing that.
Last thing I would say, you know what else is amazing? The new rugby team won finally.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot one.
I didn't mean that in such a bad way, like finally, but.
That, we got the whole front page and back page of paper.
Good team, so.
There's only 2 sides of the paper.
I don't know.
Well, that,
Poor kid. So congratulations on it.
Thank
So, all right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor?
uh,
Aye. Thank you all.
Thank you.